Hello, welcome to the front row seat. I'm out for a walk and talk, and I was just gonna think about some ideas and see what happens. So yesterday I was thinking around the coordinates and the IP addresses. Well, first let me start that take the premise that we may be in a computer. I don't know about simulation, but I'm trying to see it just as a computer and use that as a template to kind of work out what maybe is going on in my reality. So the coordinates is you and where your avatar's at. Where you take your avatar to, that's where you're taking your focus. Your focus is the energy. So wherever you focus, that's where your energy goes. Where attention goes, energy flows. You've heard the saying before. So taking the idea about the coordinates and the IP addresses, which is what your focus is focused on. That would be the, like say for instance, you were going to use Google. You would put Google your, whatever it is you're focused on, whatever you're thinking about, you put it in the Google bar, and then you hit go, and then it pulls up everything around that subject. So that's what I'm thinking, that's how this computer may be working. And you know, you can kind of see it working that way. I'm going to do a couple more experiments, but say for instance you're talking to someone and you're telling them about something that you're focused on. You're thinking about, oh yeah, I went to this car show and this happened and this and that happened. Then the next thing the person says to you back is not something about what you were talking about, but instead they've pulled up another similar situation in their mind. Oh yeah, me too. I went to this car thing over here and da-da-da-da. So what may be happening there is when you pull up a subject and start focusing on it, then that person says, oh, you're focusing on that subject. Then they go and focus on that subject too. Then their mind pulls up their IP address around whatever it is. And so I was thinking that works perfect, and that, you know, looking at it like that. And that would explain, you know, part of why, I'm not saying all people, but some people, it never gets past the first story because they're on to, you know, finding something that matches it in their story. I think it's just a way to connect. I don't think it's being rude, but anyway. So you put your focus on the Google bar, you think about something, then you put that you're putting the address in there when you're focused there. Then it's pulling up all that information. So I wanted to tie these two things together, is the coordinates and this IP address thing our mind might be doing. So the coordinates, I've talked about this before, but I wanted to add this other piece. The coordinates is where you are. You can take yourself around, or, you know, you can pull up that coordinate and go to that coordinate, and you're going to pull up whatever information is at that coordinate you're at. So that would explain something about these things called nodes or energy centers around in the realm. Some people are calling them portals. I think they're energy centers that have faster moving energy in them, and they're more, it's amplified, so they have more energy. So if you take yourself to one of those coordinates, it can either pull up everything around that coordinate and you can just kind of hang out there, or you can go there specifically and put your ideas, thoughts at that coordinate, and it's kind of like you're pinning it. You're pinning your IP address to that energy center, And I think it stays there. So if you think about it, you know how there was all those where you I got to go on this journey. I've got to go to these different places, and that's part of my spiritual practice or whatever. It's talked about all the time. That's probably what they're doing. They're going to these energy centers, thinking about what they want or what they want to accomplish, pinning that to that energy center. And then when they walk off, well, it stays pinned there. And that energy just keeps churning out. That keeps giving energy to that subject. So, and you think about maybe an artist, singer. They, you know, she's being promoted. She has talent, or he, or whoever, whatever. Well, you would go to these big stadiums. Well, a lot of these big stadiums are built right on top of energy centers that's been there for a long time. You can look at older maps and you can see there was something there before the stadium was there. And it's just people could feel them. And so they would go there. I don't know what else, you know, they're doing, but they would just go there. And they could make their community stronger. They could put, you know, information into that node. Say, hey, send Jack some energy. He's not been feeling well lately. You can do anything there. Whatever information you put there, that's what's there. And I think it stays there. And so, say, for instance, you have a middle of the road artist, you know, and you want to take them into this, you know, artist stratosphere. Oh, there's a fish right there. You want to take them into the artist stratosphere. So what you'd do is you'd go to stronger energy points, pin their coordinates to that, and then have everybody focused on that artist. Now all of that information is pinned right there. Has a lot of energy to it. And you can see before some artists get really famous, that's what they just did. They just did the world tour. Look at where they went. And you know, some of these nodes in some places, you can't get to it. It's blocked off or something. I've been to a few places. They had it roped off. They was like, nope, not coming here. Because that's all it might be. It's just everything you think is physical and real is fake, and all it really is just these coordinates and these IP addresses. And your focus, wherever you take it, it does stuff. So technically, you could go to one of those energy centers. You could think about what you want, what you need, or, you know, what you'd like to see coming up in your experience. And you could pin that information to that node. And it would continue churning out it would keep sending energy to your IP address. Because you pinned it there. You put it in there. So, wherever you focus, I'm trying to learn this myself. I'm trying to find something that works in the paradigm. So, your focus is like a Google search bar. So wherever you put your focus, and not only can you pin your energy to another energy center, you can also pull up an IP address and send your own energy to it. And then that's probably what you see in your experience, is all the things and all the energy that you've been feeling. That's a tough one there. But I do think that I'm creating my own reality here. I've seen myself do it, so it's probably what's going on. But if you're inadvertently creating it, well then, I wouldn't be hard on myself. I didn't know I was creating it, so I couldn't do better till I knew better. So, and I think that that's what's going on. Some of these world events, if you watch what's happening, look at where some of this stuff happens. You can kind of see where some of this stuff is happening at certain places. And at these certain places that have these high energy signals, then what you're going to have is an idea, an intent, something pinned to a strong energy center. And if you do that enough with enough people, well then you're going to have, you're going to be seeing those things pop into experience. I think that that's how it works. The stronger the emotion or energy is, the easier it is to pop things into experience. And again, I think that's why why these music tours or whatever are done in specific places. And it's not just music, it's also what we see happening in our world. Some of that stuff, you can trace it. I've been able to trace a couple of them back to where it started and how it was pinned to an energy center, and then all of a sudden it's just everywhere. I think it's the same thing as how movements and cults and all of that stuff are formed. And I think the trick is the struggle to be an independent thinking person. I think it does feel better being in a group. You have this almost facade, because it's not real, really. You have almost like this facade of safety. Safety in numbers. Look how fish do when they feel threatened. Well, they all group up into a ball, where in a way it's not good because it makes them an easy target. So it's not really helping. So it's probably some, it's just a thing that mammals that move in groups do, So I think communication is great, and talking about our different ideas and different things, and just keeping those lines of communication open. Then can talk about things, and then everybody gets to have their own opinion about things. Nobody can have anybody else's opinion anyway. We all have our own opinion based on our histories and our IP addresses and where we've focused ourselves at. And the last thing I'm going to say about this thing is, when you look at the lives of really successful people, they have this focus that's all they focus on. They focus on what they need to do next. And okay, I want to go into this field of work, and I want to do this kind of work, and it's the same for musicians too. They focus on practicing, and they're focused on one thing for a long time. And that's why they become so successful, was because they put all that focused energy into it. And I think that not knowing how this works, well, everybody else would have been doing that too. We just didn't, I didn't understand it. I did focus myself for a long time, and I did succeed at what I was doing. So this focusing, it really does a lot here. And I've been working really hard. Well, not real hard, but if I find myself not going, oh, you're thinking about that again, get off of it. See, that's a negative vibe. I just notice it and go, oh, let me see if I can shift my focus over here instead of focusing over here where I'm not getting what I want. So I've got snakes and stuff over here. Oh, there's an armadillo over there. No, so I've got an armadillo over here. He's nice to focus on. And a rattlesnake over there, so I'm gonna focus over here on this cute little armadillo. He looks like a baby. I wonder if it is. He's so cute. Let's see if you can see him. Where is he? Anyway, doesn't matter. So I've been working on maintaining my focus into the places where I want to, into places that I am trying to focus on, and to get the things that I want and need in my life, and not what I don't want. And so I just gently shift my focus back to where I need it to be. And another thing I've noticed that works really well is you can pre-focus. You can focus on, say for instance, you have an event coming up and you have a little bit of anxiousness about it. There's a situation there. And it seems like there's always situations everywhere. And instead of thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen when I go there? This thing's going to happen and it's not going to be fun and I don't like it and I just don't want to go. Well, you just put that energy on that thing. So instead, what I try to do is focus my energy in a good way and say, yes, those things are true, but it doesn't dictate the future. I'm going to enjoy this, whatever it is, and there's going to be really nice things that happen here. And I really appreciate, the people that got together and did all the things. And, but if it's something really negative that you don't like or don't want or don't need or don't have the energy for right now, it's always best, I think, to not go and say, I'm not going to do that right now because I just really don't have the energy to put into it. So I try to do that too. Try to be authentic and don't do things that I think are bad, are going to be bad for me and others around me. So it's just a process. I don't think we ever arrive, but just one step at a time. Gets a little better at a time. And I know in time we'll all know. I think as evolution pushes everything forward, what doesn't work is going to fall away like it always does. What does work is going to continue forward. And I believe, because I'm optimistic, that our species will evolve into a more caring, loving, and kind one. Until then, I'm going to do the work as I can. Nobody's obligated to. Everybody gets to have their free will and do what they want, which is good. And that brings up another subject, but I think I'll stop this one for here. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day. Toodles.